You resigned from Cabinet Office last week,
Yeah.
but you put a statement on Facebook which sort of gives the view that it was a bit more pushed before you could jump, or jump before you could push.
Yes, I think it was pretty clear from what I'd heard that what I said in Tynwald in September about the cost of living debate hadn't washed well with the Chief Minister and the Cabinet Office Minister. So I wasn't surprised, I must admit. But there wasn't a conflict with social affairs when I went into Cabinet Office and was asked to go there, but suddenly now there was. So fair enough, I'll resign. I'm not going to turn down a real key scrutiny role on one of the prestige committees in Tynwald.
So on your post on Facebook, you said that you had the meeting before. You had a departmental meeting.
Departmental meeting on the Wednesday. I stayed behind and Kate Lord-Brennan and the interim chief secretary were there, and we had a discussion about this. It appeared there was a choice being put, so the choice was, well, I'm going to stick doing the scrutiny role, and therefore I'll resign from Cabinet Office.
You tended to just say no.
No, not really. I would rather have that scrutiny role. What concerned me, and this is the chain of events. The Chief Minister was off the island, away on government business. That meeting happened on the Wednesday. I wasn't, and what you have to do as a departmental member is hand that resignation in to the Chief Minister, so I did that via email, and I wasn't going to say anything publicly until I had had a reply from the Chief Minister, which I wasn't expecting immediately, knowing he was away on business. So it came out of the blue when I was rung up by Manx Radio on very early on Thursday morning to see if it was true. Well, I'm not going to spin a yarn, and so of course I said it was true, but how they got hold of the fact that I'd resigned, I can only assume it's a leak from somewhere within Cabinet Office.
Well, that's for transparency. You were at Manx Radio for 24 years, but you're saying that definitely didn't come from you.
Absolutely, 100%. I was going to be very courteous and wait for the Chief Minister to get back in touch, and then I was going to, if I was going to say anything, tell all the media, not just Manx Radio. So it categorically did not come from me.
What do you think that says about, well, all of this says about government transparency? You know, it's the buzzword we always hear, and yet you've flagged a few issues that you've got with government policy, so you're out of that department. Then this is getting spread around before you've announced it yourself, sort of thing, or anyone's publicly announced it.
It's disappointing that that's happened. However, I wasn't going to shirk it. I wasn't going to deny it. I'm going to be open and transparent myself, and that's what I've been with my constituents in particular, but anyone who's asked. So I was disappointed it came out as it did, rather than in the round and to everybody. I don't think it's healthy to have departmental members of government who are backbenchers effectively having their silence bought by having a departmental role. To me, that just is alien. I've never agreed with that.
Well, that was the sort of thing, because there was the remuneration committee was meant to have designed this system now, so this doesn't happen anymore.
There's no uplift in pay. This is the first time that's happened. So that was meant to even out that scale. But collective responsibility, yes, within COMIM, but I think the backbenchers got to be free to hold government to scrutiny and to hold them to account. And this doesn't do that if this is the case.
Just give us an overview for the sake of people who may not have seen it. What was it that you spoke out about in September that you believe has led to this?
You'd have to ask Kate Lord-Brennan, the Chief Minister, fully on that. I heard they weren't particularly happy. I just felt the measures, I described them as effectively a sticking plaster in the overall scheme of things, and questioned where the help was for single people trying to pay their rent and a mortgage, where's the help for pensioners, where's the help for carers, a whole list of things. So social affairs matters, if you like. So I think that was where, let's be honest, obviously Cabinet Office is a key central position. So I don't think they felt that they were happy with the fact that I'd spoken out as I had, but I'm a backbencher.
Just on that, you say you're a backbencher. Do you think that there's still a bit of a closed shop around Coman with this, or even around departments?
I think that this administration started out trying to be all inclusive and have conferences and discuss policy issues. I worry that this might be just a return to effectively what I call the paranoia of the last administration. I really hope it isn't. I would urge the current Cannon administration to really avoid going down that road, because that isn't healthy.
And just in terms of your role within the committee, but also you're still in the DOI.
Yeah.
Have you found anything that you can speak, in DOI, do you feel that you can still speak freely about
absolutely
events that go on?
Absolutely, and pre-declared position, because at all meetings where the subject of bus fares has come up, I've argued for free island bus fares. So I made that point again in the cost of living debate in September, and I'm still at infrastructure.
Just finally, how important do you see that this is sort of seen as a case of the backbench with this, perhaps, without saying this could have influenced your decision, but the difference between the old system where you were paid effectively to stay in departments and keep your mouth shut, and they had these guaranteed votes in Tynwald, to where we are now, that this has to change the relationship that Comyn has with Tynwald as a whole?
Comyn should have, as I said in a post on social media, should have the confidence to win an argument, a policy argument within Tynwald. Doesn't have to resort to this.
In response to our interview, a Gov spokesman said, following a discussion with Mr. Glover last Wednesday afternoon, the Minister for the Cabinet Office raised the potential for conflict of interest. Mr. Glover acknowledged this may be an issue, and subsequently determined he would resign from his Cabinet Office position, which he did later that day. The Minister for the Cabinet Office is grateful to Mr. Glover for his contribution and support during his time in the Cabinet Office and wishes him well in his Tynwald scrutiny role and government role in the Department of Infrastructure.